But I knew Chicago was just not for me at the time. I was just feeling complacent. Came out here and I got a job. I'm working in logistics. I'm a salesman at a company called Echo. And, it's all right. But I'm just got a gut. I'm empty. I walked in here 3 years ago. They asked me to come in. And I worked with Fo Dominguez, Hector, and we worked with the kids in here. I was beating up on them because I was still in actual good shape at the time, almost 4 years ago. And so I kept on working with them, and they asked me to keep coming back. And it was just volunteering my time at first. And it was just to kind of fill my pit. And it was, and it did. And I was feeling good. And then progressively through time, started building more relationships. There wasn't a lot of kids when I came in. You saw the class today, trying to build something. And, fast forward, now we're looking at an opportunity here where I became the head coach. Bo had a son, and his time was, devoted to family. He couldn't be a coach as much as he wanted to be. And I had the available time, single guy, really love the sport. I love coaching, love giving back. And so here we are, a couple years later. I'm really happy here, and I really look forward to seeing how a lot of these kids develop.
We see that you do work with the kids and everything to teach them quality techniques of wrestling. So how important is that for you to be around the youth and having the ability to do so?
Okay. Well, it's important to me, absolutely. In the sense of technique in itself is important, but you don't really know what you like until you experience it, right? And having a kid ask you about a technique, or I show the kid a technique, and I give him a work ethic, and then you actually see him execute it in a match. You see him go from knowing nothing to winning a match based on something you showed him. Wow. Almost nothing more rewarding, at least to my experience. So that in itself is, it's not as much as important as much as I love it. You know what I mean by that? So I think that the technique's important, and I think the whole thing is just, it's just great.
Any philosophies in wrestling that you had?
Yeah. The philosophy is work harder than the other guy. This sport is based on work ethic. I've seen some incredibly talented kids work ethic. I've seen some not so talented kids put in the time, put in the effort, put in the focus, and be on the top of the sport. Rags to riches stories in some cases, for lack of a better term. So always work harder than what you think your opponent's doing. And you should always assume that your opponent is doing more than you. And then outwork that guy.
Exactly. What are some of the challenges you face as a wrestling coach?
Challenges that you face as a wrestling coach. Besides finding perfect partners for your kids, that's got to be up there. We got a slew of sizes and techniques and levels, and so to make sure that you have everybody work with the perfect partner, that's a challenge in itself. To have like a good core group of kids, that all can learn together, that's a tough one. Every kid is different. Every individual kid is different. There's some kids that you can be like, hey, you got to work harder. Is that really your best effort? And that kid will work harder. Now I'll go to a separate kid and I will say that exact sentence and they will shut down. So you have to, one of the big challenges is knowing your audience, right? Being able to assess what kind of motivation, what kind of speaking and inflections and just your general tone and attitude, what's going to connect on some kids and what's going to connect on others. It'd be great if all the kids were the same. You could use the same strategy and it was great, but that's not the way it goes. Some need a little more gentle hand and some need a firm fist. So those are just a couple of the challenges that you run into.
Do you travel across the U.S. to teach kids, or do you stay in California and teach?
No, I actually have just stayed in California. That's where all my camps and clinics have been. I did work as a volunteer assistant coach at my old high school back in Chicago at Revis High School, but that was short-lived. That was just like one season, worked during the winter term. So no, I haven't traveled out of state. I would be interested in going to any state that would love to have me. I have a lot of knowledge gathered over the years. I don't know what to do with it. So if there's ever a program that would like me to come in, all they got to do is ask, and I'd be happy to work something out.
12-pound freak show team.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Can we get a little info about that?
Yes, absolutely. There's a big tournament in Vegas, and it's called the Freak Show, and it's a year-round, not a year-round tournament. It's an annual tournament. In Vegas, and it's some of the best kids in the country come to this. Maybe not number ones and number twos in the country, but definitely some elite wrestling. And it's an event that this program has been going to for years, as well as a lot of programs around here. I know that I also work with St. John Bosco and their team, and they've got a small group that goes as well. So Dog Pound has brought kind of the bad news bears in previous years. Sort of. Like very talented kids, but maybe we kind of didn't have the most consistent training beforehand, or we maybe made some last minute decisions to go to the tournament. And over the last few years, I haven't had the opportunity to go because I've had prior engagements. And so this year I knew I could make it. And so I got ahead of it early. Tournament isn't until like the middle of October, 18, 19, 20. And so I put this team together for the 1st of August. August 5th is actually when we started it. And this includes conditioning, it includes weight training, it includes technique that is based on a system, not just run-of-the-mill like willy-nilly we're going in. We're not just grinding it out live every day. We're gonna build in August. I always think of it like this. If your wrestler is a mansion, you're gonna build it on quicksand or you're gonna build it on a solid foundation. So I'm re-teaching a lot of technique to these kids, giving them the opportunities. Whatever sticks, that works for them. Whatever doesn't, that's okay. I want them to experience it. What they start finding works for them is gonna work for them. And so we continue to build. And today we had some conditioning for them. We've got some nutritional guidance, because I think that your body's a temple. Your body's a Ferrari. You're not going to put cheap gas in you. You got to put the best in. So we've got a whole system in play. My friend Coach Kevin Galima, he's helping me out with that. Hector is a big part of this training session as well. Coach Travis, he's in here too. So I'm not by myself on this. I've got a team, and they're working together, and the parents have been great as well. So I've got a good set of kids. I've got a great set of parents. They believe in me. They believe in my system. And the kids believe in it too. And that's where you can see the success. So as far as Freak Show, it is us building something for these kids that can set the tone for the rest of their season. This is by no means their goals. This is a process to help them achieve their overall goals.
Is there anything more exhausting than wrestling?
Wow, no.
No. I know, right? Like with other combat sports, they have their resting period.
Yeah, wrestling is, I've dabbled in MMA when I was back in Chicago, and the in-between on my university vacation, we'll call it, I was dabbling over at San Coloma's gym in Bridgeport, and I was doing a little MMA, I'll call it MMA. And boxing is exhausting, don't get me wrong. My arms are dead after that, right? Kickboxing, that is extremely tough. Getting kicked across the chest and getting punched in the face, those are added things that I just, yikes, right? But you throw in technique, wrestling technique into that, and controlling the ground game. Nothing wears anybody out faster than having to fight for position and get off the ground. You know, wrestling is where you dictate where the fight happens. So, do I think there's anything more exhausting? Sure. Have I experienced it? No.
Gotcha. Okay, so what constitutes good MMA wrestling?
Good MMA wrestling. Oh, Khabib. I mean, that's got to be the pinnacle, right? Good MMA wrestling is going to be controlling the position and always being able to get into your controlled position, as far as whether you're a striker in side mount or full mount, half guard, whatever that particular wrestler is good at. If he can get to that position to open up his striking and make sure that if he's facing another good grappler, he's not getting tapped out and he's controlling the ring, I mean, that's a good wrestler. You know, some Division I wrestlers, they go into MMA and it doesn't translate. You know, it's just not for them. Corey Anderson right now, one of the, I believe, you know, kind of getting stiffed on the rankings. I think he's one of the best lightweights to ever play in the game. And, you know, they got him kind of in the bottom of the top 10. I think he's up there in the top 3. You know, he can go in there with John Bones Jones, and it's because he's wrestling. And he's got a great gas tank. So, I mean, if there's anybody that's an example of like what great wrestling can be and like how it can translate over, I mean, Corey Anderson's one example of it. I mean, John Bones Jones too. You know, Josh Koscheck, to go back to an old school guy, he had fantastic wrestling that dictated where the matches happened. So, you know, overall, if you have to make it your own. That's the answer to that. You've got to make your wrestling your own. You've got to be able to open up the striking in your positions or your tap outs or whatever, but just taking somebody down is not good enough.
What is next for you?
Well, I love dog pound. I absolutely love it. Envy it a little bit too. I would love to open at some point in my life. I would love to have a facility very similar to this, where I focus on building young minds and having a program that I can call my own. You know, I love dog pound. They have given me the platform, the microphone, the entire enchilada, and I consider this place home. But Pipe Dream, I'd love to have my own place, and I think Hector knows that. I hope he doesn't hear that for the first time on the interview, but I think that he knows that. But he's put in great time and effort, and he's built a community here, and you know, I love it here. So what would be next for me is kind of do my own thing, but that's a years down the road plan. Right now, current goal is just to make the kids that I have right in front of me right now the best wrestlers that they can be, to have them believe in themselves and understand that the process comes with work, and the work comes with success, and being able to put all that together. So goals are important for every single person. You need to have them in your day-to-day, you know, whether it's a small daily goal, you know, I want to get 10,000 steps in, right? Even for the littlest thing. Or for wrestlers, it's like, all right, you know, Joe has been taking me down last 2 weeks. I'm getting a takedown today. All the way to your overall goal, you know, say you want to be a state champion, national champion, coach at the high level. You know, I'd love to coach at a high level. Working with Bosco and Ruben Valencia right now has been a treasure to me. So, you know, another goal is also to coach at a level where I'm seeing success for, you know, some of the best kids in the country. And that's also part of my goals. So kind of all over on my goals, but they're in a system that leads to an inevitable overall goal. So they all have to, one thing at a time, and everything comes with hard work and patience. Hard work and patience and consistency. I'm at this gym almost 7 days a week. And it's because of the time that I put in with the kids. Coaches putting in the time, I'll put in the time. Parents see me consistently, so they come consistently. When they believe in you, they believe in the system, they believe in the process. And success isn't based on something that you do once in a while. Success is something that you have to do. Success is something that happens through consistency.